meeting to order. It is now 10:33. If you'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, be seated. Thank you. I'd also like to have a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors, as well as those suffering throughout the world. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Let's a roll call, please.
Michael Messina,
Present.
Ed Whitman,
Present.
Mary Adler,
Present.
Carol Butterworth,
Present.
Charlie Rod.
Present. Okay. May I please have a motion for the approval of the February 22nd, 2024 open board meeting minutes? May I have a motion, please?
Okay, I make a motion to accept the February 16th open board meeting minutes.
Okay, may I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, we'll now vote on approving the minutes. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion to approve the minutes has been approved. Okay, so a couple of things. That's the formality of starting a meeting. So now we'll go on to a couple other things. So there will be a single motion today to document that we are switching attorneys to McGovern Attorney LLC. So we are going to ask someone to make a motion. Now let me explain why we're doing that. It's not that our attorney was not good. We feel that he was not responsive enough to us in a timely manner. So I think decisions that were made on our present attorney were appropriate, but I think we need a little bit more attention. So that's kind of the rationale behind it. So Mary, would you...
I make a motion to approve the Government Legal Service as associate attorneys replacing Becker and Paulo Cuff as retained counsel and replacing Coronado Law Office as a collection attorney. McGovern will be assigned as a retained attorney.
Okay. So what that means is that we will only pay for the time that we use, as opposed to someone getting X number of dollars per month, regardless of whether we use them or not. That's the way, that's the trend now. All right, so we have a motion made by Mary. We need a second.
I second.
Okay, the board will now vote on approving the motion. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion to switch attorneys has been approved. I would like to introduce our attorney. You know,
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Palulak. I'm an attorney at McGovern Legal Services, the association's new law firm. Just by way of background, the firm itself is a niche law firm. We have 12 attorneys, maybe about 23, 24 people in total with paralegals and support staff. And all we do, all of the attorneys and the firm itself is set up to only represent homeowner associations like yourselves, condominium associations, cooperative associations. So the community association world is all we do. So like I said, between general corporate work, collection work, and association litigation, that's what we do as a firm. We provide as much as possible training, presentations in the industry to property management companies and boards and memberships like yourselves to try to bring everybody up to speed with new laws, changes in the community association industry in New Jersey. And that's it. I've been doing this for 17 years with this same firm representing exclusively community associations. So pleasure to work with you, and thank you.
So, they actually took charge of our homeowners association on March the 1st. And they have been working on our bylaws, which have been languishing out there for months. And by the end of this month, we should have it kind of squared away in 1 month's time, a new person coming in. I want to be very clear on something. McGovern Legal Services is strictly for the use by the HOA, as they do not do legal work on an individual basis or an individual homeowner. So if you're looking for anything legal, that's not their niche. So you need to find someone else, just so you know, okay? Okay, we have other guests here today that I'd like to give the floor to them for a minute or two, okay? Well,
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Detective Ryan Parenti with the Tom River Police Department, and my partner Bob and I, we specialize in financial crimes and fraud. And I'm here today to talk to you briefly about a trend that we're seeing. I might be a little close to the speaker here. Try to move a little closer. That sounds a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So we're seeing an influx of computer-related crime and fraud in town, and it's statewide, nationwide, et cetera. But predominantly it's affecting communities such as yours with regard to email scams and cryptocurrency crime. I'm seeing a large trend of people being defrauded, and it's usually starting with home computers and fraud spam calls. So show of hands, people who have a laptop that we use to communicate. All right, so basically everybody, including myself, we're all basically targets. And as targets, we receive these spoofed emails from, I would say, any and every entity that we do normal day-to-day business with, i.e. your banks, whether it's Wells Fargo, TD, Chase, any of the home streaming services like Netflix, all of them. Amazon Prime is a big one. I get things Amazon Prime in my house 3 times a day. Sometimes it gets excessive, but you know, it's the world we live in. So what I would like to do is just caution you with regard to emails and phone calls and things like that, before we reply, to consider that this email could be fraudulent. And one way that you can do that is by, one, pausing and assessing what the body of the email is. So one of the larger scams going around right now is they will say, you're expecting a delivery from Amazon, and it can't be delivered. Has anybody gotten that one in the past? Okay, so I'm speaking to minds that are already attuned to this, which is good. And I'm hoping I can give a little bit more and we can spread the word here. But these emails are prompting us to put in password information or socially engineer a little bit about us in order to create a profile on the individual that's connected to that particular email account. And these emails go out blanket, they go out to millions of users across the country, and they're just looking for information. The majority of these scams, including some of the bank scams, are having people go to the bank under the guise of your bank account in particular has been targeted for fraud. And they're convincing account holders to go to their respective bank and withdraw cash, large sums of it. And I have one that I'm currently working now that's $30,000 to $40,000 worth of loss. And I have maybe 4 or 5 of these cases open currently. These scammers are having you withdraw your hard-earned savings and going to what's called an ATM for cryptocurrency. And they are prolific throughout town now. There used to only be 1 or 2. But if you go into Walgreens or you go into, I'm sure, the Exxon right up the street there, and there are these crypto ATMs. And if you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, it is an unregulated money transfer business. So there's no federal oversight. You can put in as much cash into these machines as you like and purchase Bitcoin. If you're familiar with Bitcoin, we're seeing it's very popular right now. You can purchase these Bitcoins at these ATMs for $30,000 to $40,000, and I've had people in these gas stations at 2 o'clock in the morning with that much cash on them, and they were telling me how terrified they were to have that much cash in a gas station. But the premise of the scam is that if you don't deposit this cash, you'll lose it all. And these cryptocurrencies are, and these ATMs are a safe place to put the money until your bank can restore it. And they're acting as bank representatives. So they'll call from a number that is spoofed for you to recognize as TD or Chase or Wells Fargo, whomever you bank with. And you're putting the money into these crypto ATMs. And as soon as you hit send, the money's gone. You have conducted a legitimate business transaction with a U.S. cryptocurrency company, and I have no recourse to withhold or withdraw the money out of that ATM. It is a legal transaction that is binding. Even though it was done under the premise of fraud, much like your bank will not refund you the money because you willingly went into the bank to withdraw this, even though the premise was under the guise of fraud. So once the money is posted on the blockchain and the transaction happens, it is now clearly in the purview of the suspect. It's in their control, and I have a very difficult time tracking it. It takes a very specific program to use to trace that through the blockchain, and I'm finding most of these accounts are being controlled by parties in India or Africa or Russia or China. A lot of the money is being laundered overseas. I do have some cases that I have been successful in making recoveries. I've recovered over $300,000 worth of loss so far, but that is maybe only 15 to 20% of the total losses in the last 2 years, just in Toms River Township alone. So the FBI reporting statistics are in the billions of dollars of loss in cryptocurrency. So it's really a hot target of fraud right now because the money is so easily moved across the globe, let alone inside the United States. But I guess my primary concern for you is to one, just be cautious of any phone calls or emails that you receive. We all have local banking institutions. If you think there's a problem with your bank account, go directly to the banking institution itself. Nothing that the scammers or these people can say should invoke fear in you. Normal business, it gets conducted day to day. Your accounts, if it is legitimately compromised, the bank usually has safeguards in place to protect you from fraud. And that is in the world that they do. They have fraud investigators that will do that, and we work routinely with them. What they try and do is, another scam is that we all have laptops here. Most of us, they are Microsoft-based, Windows-based, and we'll get pop-ups every once in a while on the bottom of them. You may see a pop-up come up and say your computer has been infected with spam or fraud. That's another, very popular targeted one. If you do get one of those and you are concerned about it, immediately power the computer down and take a break. Nothing has to happen right away. Power the computer down, take a moment, call, even if it's the next day, contact a family or a friend. If you're concerned about the computer, I recommend the Geek Squad at Best Buy all the time. They can boot it up and see if you were a victim of fraud. But what they try and do is they try and elicit an emotional response from us. We're emotional creatures. We want to make sure things are right. We don't want to be on the wrong side of the law. One of the popular scams is that your computer has been infected with child pornography, which is going to elicit an emotional response. I don't want to get in trouble by the police, etc. And they'll make you act in a way that you normally wouldn't if you weren't affected by this emotion. So it is typical scammer playbook, 101 from ancient times until today. It's just now we have technology and we can reach a much broader target. So if a pop-up does come up, take a break. Don't answer any phone calls. Another big thing that they're asking you to do when you do these pop-ups is to contact their service number. The service number, when you look it up, will look like it's legitimate, but it will be ported to a different thing. Don't click any links inside of a pop-up or an email unless you verify where that email has come from. Those are often spoofed to take you, you might think it's a link to FedEx or UPS or Amazon, but it'll take you to a server on the other side of the world where you'll enter sensitive information. So I could go on and on about this, but the crux of this is, number one, don't respond to anything unless you're 100% sure that it is who they say they are. Always contact the banking institution directly, either go there the next day or use a trusted phone number that you have that's on your bank statements that you get in the mail, something along that line. Never trust the phone numbers or emails that are in any of these pop-ups or in any of these emails. I verify everything myself when I do these things at home. I get these Norton or McAfee pop-ups all the time. If you have one of these service protections for your machine, they often use that as a way to target you because you think that this company is there to protect you, and they are using that to defraud you. So I don't want to take up too much more of the president's time here. I know you have a business agenda to attend to, but just in totality here, be cautious, protect yourselves, never take cash out of the bank and go to one of these crypto ATMs for safekeeping. Once it's gone, it's basically gone. In addition, law enforcement, government agencies will never ask for cash for bail or anything along that line, or if you're involved in any sort of government matter, cryptocurrency, electric bill scams, etc. All these things, they elicit the emotional response to get you to act quickly, but you can slow it down, like we say in the policing world when we're involved in some sort of emergent incident. Stabilize, slow everything down, and then allow your rational side to prevail. So, does anybody have any questions? I'd love to field a few if you have anything specific. I'll start from the front, work my way back.
What about when the phone rings and you pick it up and nobody's on the other end?
It could be something from a call center.
Right, and then you get a beep and then someone comes on.
Typically, that would be a perfect example of a call center where they're using computer technology to try and link to as many people as they can. As soon as you answer, a light will come up on their computer. Oh, we got a live one here, and then they'll go over and then they'll start to run the playbook on you. But yeah, that is a typical scammer.
Where could you use Bitcoin or crypto?
So there are some more modern technology companies out there that you can use Bitcoin as a payment form, much like cash or a credit card, etc. The Bitcoin is typically nowadays one of the more accepted retail currencies, and people are doing private transactions with them. They have a fluctuating market value, much like gold. They are commodity based, however, they are not backed by anything physical, nothing tangible that we can hold. It is all based upon speculation, etc., which is why you're seeing $65,000 to $70,000 Bitcoin prices these days when they were 6 months ago $17,000.
All right, I think maybe Charlie, you're the last one, and then
All
we're
right.
gonna hold off.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, go.
How about card skimmers that are on ATMs or
Cards-
POS terminals?
Yeah, card skimmers, they're out there. They're typically traveling organized crime groups. We've seen a lot of Romanian crime groups running through the areas with card skimmers. Most of the time, it's specific to a specific ATM, so they'll target a group or series of banks that they have that equipment for. So basically, card skimmers, be cautious. I try to use the banking institutions proper, or ATMs that are continuously monitored. Ones that aren't monitored all the time gives them an opportunity to place a skimmer. I always, it's suggested that when you enter your PIN into the keypad, to try and cover your hand with your free hand that block the PIN number, because they typically have a camera somewhere in that area to capture your PIN number as well after you skim the card. So it's a good practice to take, and they need that PIN number in order to be able to go and withdraw your cash from other ATMs. So I'll turn it back to the
Thank you
president.
very much,
Yep.
and
And
if there's
I'm
any
happy
other
to
questions,
report.
gentlemen in the back. say this, there's no shortage of people trying to take your money. And you have to be leery all the time. So with that being said, I'm sure they'll be around a little bit longer if you have questions. So continuing on, thank you.
I think you have to remember, if it's too good to be true, it's not true.
Don't trust anyone. Continuing on, I'm glad to announce that the two projects that have been in play, those being the cladding project and the fence project, are fully completed. As you walk around the interior, the interior has already been accomplished as well, so the projects are done. And real quick, I have one more thing. Reporting on the pool, and for informational purposes only, the pool and spa recently had both thermostats replaced as they weren't holding temperature. In fact, we put one in, company put it in, and the next day it didn't work. I mean, it's insane. But keep in mind, these things are going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so. But they're all working now fine. And the pool committee is still looking for resident volunteers at this time. Anyone interested in being involved in decision-making or involved just to want to help, please see Ed. So there'll be a meeting in a couple of weeks on that. Okay, lastly, I don't know if you noticed when you came in, the ballot box is out front. So I would like to announce that candidacy applications for the 3 board member positions have been sent out to your homes, and at this time, that's for the election in May. So I think it's April 16th. If you're interested, you need to put your name in on a ballot in the box by April 16th. There are 3 positions. My position, position Mary is presently in, and Charlie came in between years, so that position. So minimally there are 3 positions. Anyone interested, now's the time. Okay, and at this point I'd like to turn it over to Ed for the Vice President report.
Good morning. This morning I speak on behalf of the Grounds Committee. The board is considering a Grounds Committee issue regarding the slopes from common areas down into the backyards of so many of our homes. The slope creates an erosion problem, and in short order, all the grass is swept away down the slope, leaving nothing but gravel and sand, and it's rather unsightly. So the Grounds Committee recommends that we plant and perhaps irrigate those areas, and something like English ivy or pachysandra or something that would hold the ground, as well as create a green slope instead of these bare spaces. So we're undertaking to consider that possibility of addressing and remediating the erosion problem. A second issue is if you have any dead or dangerous trees that are growing out of the common and threatening your property, please enter a concern sheet and we'll go out and examine it, and then if necessary issue a work order to deal with that problem. Thirdly, please do not, we've had strong winds lately that have knocked down a lot of branches, so please don't place dead fall sticks and branches at the curb. They're not going to be picked up. So it's you have to dispose of those on your own, or make arrangements to have them picked up, but just don't pile them out at the curb, okay? And lastly, here's a problem that has come to my attention at least, and I bring it to yours too, because I'd like to alert dog owners in our community to a potential danger to their dogs. In the area around the gazebo, the walk area, the asphalt walks on Morningdale around the gazebo, someone is throwing away white gum. You chew your gum, and courtesy demands you keep the wrapper, wrap it up, and stick it in your pocket or throw it in the trash when you get home. But someone's throwing it on the ground. Unfortunately, this gum is very attractive to dogs, and they're tempted to eat it. The problem is that this gum is sugarless and contains the artificial sweetener xylitol. Even a small amount can be extremely toxic to dogs. It causes hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, symptoms of vomiting, lethargy, loss of coordination, leading to seizures, liver damage, and death. If you're discarding the gum in this way, please dispose of your gum properly. And if you know who this person is, please let them know of the potential danger to our pets in Lake Ridge. To give you an idea of the problem, my wife picked up 11 pieces of chewed gum in the walking path behind the gazebo in just one pass. 11 pieces in about 200 feet. This is a serious threat to our dogs, and the board alerts you to this problem. I'll also try to submit this to the views so that more than the people attending here become aware of it. All right, that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. We'll now move on to the treasurer's report. Mary?
I'm gonna keep sitting. Okay, for the 2 months ended in February of 29 and 2024, our net income was better than our budget by $59,258. Well, how did we do this? We had a surplus carry over from 2023 of $40,000, and our income was $2,766, better than budget. Our expenses were budgeted at $2,381,000. We actually spent $2,332,000, which gave us $15,000 to the plus side. Again, we didn't have any, we had snow, but not enough, and we didn't spend that much money on our snow removal, so we carried over $29,000 for that. Our investments have been very favorable, finally, so that's a plus for us. So that's what gave us the plus sign for our budget this year. As you know, most of our cash is invested in $2.8 million, most of which is invested in the replacement fund, which has a balance of approximately $1.96 million. The funds held in the replacement funds are invested in CDs, insured by the FDIC, U.S. Treasury notes, and money market funds, and of course there's some cash to set aside for emergencies. So all in all, we had a good 2 months. Hopefully this will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. We'll now move on to the secretary's report. Carol?
Thank you. Documents and Policies Committee is in very good shape. It gave its paperwork to the new attorneys for review. When it's returned, which will be in the next few weeks with our new attorneys, residents will be asked to vote on a few items. Recently, I attended a board leadership workshop in Freehold. It was for HOA people throughout New Jersey, sponsored by the Community Associations Institute. 2 of the speakers were people that Lake Ridge uses. Fran McGovern of McGovern Legal Services and Jessica Kutzman of Wilkin Cottonplan, our auditors. Quite impressive presentations of all the speakers, but these 2 in particular were excellent. I was happy that so many of the attendees felt the same. 10 years ago and 20 years ago, our boards of directors set us on the right paths, and it was obvious that Lake Ridge is in much better shape than the other HOAs. I really mean it. We are a credit. That's my report.
Thank you, Carol. We'll now move on to the Director at Large report. Charlie?
Thank you, and good morning, and thank you for coming. First off, the Architectural Committee right now is preparing for another busy season. They continue with the architectural updates. They're hoping to have those done soon. I can't emphasize again the importance of the actual architectural application please, anything that you do to the exterior of your home requires an ARC application. And you will save yourself a lot of grief by putting in this application and also by reading the ARC standards. Many times there's a lot of problems with folks who just don't read them, and it hurts them in the pocketbook when they have to remove what they put in illegally. So please, be mindful of the ARC acts. Also, the new campaign this year, the target date through the Architectural Committee is May 1st to begin exterior home inspections. They will begin then, and what they're looking for is unsightly weeds, overgrown bushes, green mold on the siding, loose shutters, faded paint, or paint colors that are not approved. So please take a little stock in your properties and have them cleaned so that you will not be getting any violation letter, or you will have to alleviate what the problems may be. The other committee, the Home Sales Committee, has informed us that they will be having a meeting on the 19th of April at 2 p.m. in the ballroom, that all the new revised forms have been approved, and there will be an article in the Views, in the April Views, to explain these forms. And if you have any questions or you want to know more about it, you can come to the meeting or send in any questions. And once the meeting has taken place, there will be a place in the kiosk for the Lake Ridge Home Sale listing forms. So if you have any questions, I would appreciate you showing up to their meeting, and they will answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Before we go on to Ray's report, which is going to be extensive, I just wanted to add to that. The reason that we're doing these new forms in regards to the sale of houses is, as you all know, new homeowners coming in. And I'm going to tell you myself, I came in, I thought I knew the rules. Maybe I knew the rules. Maybe I didn't even know anything, okay? And then suddenly here are the rules. So we're trying to stop that. ARC has a tough enough job for those, making sure that everything stays within the parameters that we like. For the new homeowners coming in that don't read it, we're getting the information out to them sooner before they sign on the dotted line. We're having them sign off that they got them. We're having them sign off that they read them. So there's no confusion. Therefore, there should be less ARC problems down the road. You get it before, not after, right? So that's a very important project that we're going on to. And now I'd like to turn over the floor to Ray for the manager's report.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Before I start, excuse me, I want to turn over, we have 2 committee reports, and first I'll turn it over to Rita for Government Committee.
Just a quick update from the Government Committee. Thanks to everyone who voted in the fire election. The 2 incumbents won, but the budget was not approved. Excuse me. The budget is now in the hands of the Town Council. The County Connection visits were coordinated by Erin. They're going to be coming monthly. There's a flyer on the wall, and also she'll be sending, or has already sent something out. The committee is investigating safe driving courses from AAA and AARP. AAA does not have free courses. AARP we're still looking into. But if we do set up something, there probably will be a cost involved. Now, you can go online and do it for free, but that's up to you to take a look at and look up the information on that. CarFit will be scheduled shortly. Information will be sent to the community in a web blast. Recycling is a concern in our community. Phil Lucas has an article in the April Views. We're planning to create a one-sheet with specific information, pictures, etc., to advise you of what can be recycled, and updates will be communicated as it becomes available. Rumors about a bus dropping off migrants on a hotel on Route 37 was false. 2 bus drivers spent the night there, but no migrants were on the bus. Please make sure you are aware of all the facts before sharing incorrect information. There was something on a Facebook page recently about document shredding. The government committee looked into this in the past, and it's too costly to bring a truck here. It's not cost effective when there are free services available through the county. So my recommendation would be to look up Ocean County free documents shredding schedule. There's actually one April 8th in Berkeley Township, April 29th in South Toms River, and there is a drop-off box available in Lakewood at 601 New Hampshire Avenue. So there are free opportunities. Why spend the community's money on something that can be done if you look into it for free? And that's it for now. Thank you.
And we'll just have a short report from our election committee. Nancy, do you have anything to report?
Both Teresa Belancy and I are in charge of the election committee. I really didn't know I was going to be saying anything, so forgive me. Mike did talk to you about the box in the hallway, in the lobby, where you can drop off if you're interested in running for the board. The date, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, I believe it's April 3rd, or it's early the week in April when you're gonna, that's the deadline if you're interested. This year, it's been changed. It used to be that you had to live in the community for 3 years before you could run. This year, you just have to be a resident that is, to put it mildly, your name has to be on the deed, and you have to be current with all of your fees. If that's the case, then you can run for the board. I'm not encouraging you, but I'm just saying that these are the new rules that are out there. So if you please be interested, we have a good board now. It's not that I'm encouraging the board to change, but we have to have the election and we have to have everybody to vote, because if you don't vote the first time, we have to repeat it again, and that's an added expense. So even though if we have 3 seats or positions available and we only have 3 people that run, you do need to vote. Thank you.
And just, excuse me, just to add to that, the 3 positions, we have a 2-year position that both Mike and Mary currently have. The position that Charlie has taken is a 1-year position. So the positions will be validated by the results of the votes that come in. So it's two 2-year terms and 1 1-year term. They'll also be having a town hall looking at April 11th, just to go over the electronic voting. We hope to have a presentation there from Vote HOA Now, who is the vendor for this election. They were the vendor who helped out with the electronic voting last year. Moving on, just 2 comments on items that Mike had brought up before. The perimeter fence has been completed, and the original cost was under the $91,000 previously approved by the association. We're still waiting for reimbursement for the township on the application escrow and performance bond, so we can get final figures on that as well. The project costs have been sent to the insurance company, and the fence will be added for protection under the commercial package. The cladding project, it is done on the inside. There's some exterior items that we're looking at. We'll have a walkthrough with the engineer and the contractor today to get that all taken care of. Interior was finished. The project was time and cost consuming and full of surprises, as we found extensive damage only when the material and the siding was removed. Feel confident the extra work and precautions will provide better coverage and protection of the building for years to come. We still have some soil leveling and drainage to be done on the outside. We're working with Cut Above on that. The termite protection system will be reinstalled once we check off on everything on the exterior there. And also, as mentioned in last month's meeting, we have a proposed amendment to the New Jersey Fire Code that would prohibit the use of landscape materials such as wood-based mulch around within 18 inches of homes and commercial buildings. That's still going through updated proposals. It has not been presented yet, so we're still in limbo with that. We're looking at that first round at the clubhouse and the annex as well, which is probably gonna take a little while, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that before we're fully finished with the exterior. Just going over some proposed projects for 2024. As we mentioned, we had retaining walls inspected back in October. I was out yesterday for a couple hours looking at the conditions of them, taking some pictures, and that along with concrete ramps and walkways. We have proposals coming in. I have extra vendors coming next week to take a walk around, and we should have at least 4 to 5 good proposals coming in on those projects for the board to review. The guardrail and power washing and sealing project that was tabled last year was sent out for repricing, and that'll be going in front of the board for review as well. We had athletic sports services out finally last week to take a look at the tennis courts, the cracks and conditions there. We'll be looking for their proposal for repair. Although they did do the work 2 years ago, the weather and drainage conditions did result in some cracking in the surface. Remains to be seen what we can do with that. Cut Above is out working to continue to trim tree branches around the street lights. It had to stop for a little while during the little bit of warmer weather. They're worried about sap coming down on the cars. They should be taking care of that by next week, should be finished up with that. We do have our financials. The 2023 audit was just completed by Wilken and Gooden Plan. It will be presented to the Finance Committee for review. They'll look at their questions and recommendations before they present it to the board for approval. So that's in the works as well. And there was one request that we've had multiple cars parking in the handicap parking that are in possession of handicap vehicle tags, but they're not putting them up. A resident will then come in or call and complain to the office, and we have to go out and check that the car is not illegally parked. If you are parking in a handicap spot, you must either have the license plates or the hang tag on display. And as always, parking in between the lines would help as well. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ray. May I please have a motion to complete the business portion of the meeting today? Someone make a motion, please? Okay, and Carol has seconded. All those in favor say aye. Are there any nays? The ayes have it, and the meeting is now closed. We will now